Hi, guys. Welcome back to the Backstage Bikini podcast with your hosts, Grace and Jade. We've had a bit of a hiatus inadvertently, so we are back. It's been a couple of weeks, so we apologize for being a little bit MIA, but we're back and we are covering today the NCP European and Europa Pro show, which happened in the UK the weekend just gone. I watched it avidly on the TV, like I literally didn't move all weekend watching the amateurs, all categories really, but especially the bikini, because this UK qualifier was the last one for this year's Olympia, Joe Weider Olympia as well. So we had to see who was going. We had
Yes.
to. But how did you find it, Grace? What's your
Oh,
first
I'm raging I
thought?
wasn't there in person. I'd say it was
Yeah.
such a good atmosphere.
Mm,
Huge show to have in the UK as well.
yeah. Yeah.
Obviously two pro cards given
Hmm.
out to the amateurs, which I think is incredible. I don't think we've had that
We've never done that.
before.
No.
So
No.
really good
No.
opportunity. And just I think the event itself, where it was and the lighting and even the live stream as well, really,
Yeah.
really good quality. And I know Marnie said just the way the whole show was ran was great.
Ran.
So
Yeah.
massive well done to Two Bros and IFBB Pro Italy. I can't remember her name, the girl that organized it, but
Ooh,
they run
but
great shows. So
yeah,
hopefully we get another one like this soon.
I know.
The standard just builds with these kind of shows, but it's great to have had
Mm,
it in the UK as well. But
yeah, it was
incredible athlete.
incredible.
Yeah, it was
Mm.
really, really good.
It was
I,
incredible to hear where the athletes had come from as well. So you
yeah,
had like Brazilians, you had people from all over the world, not just Europe, which we tend to attract European athletes because obviously it's accessible. So some of the like places and countries that people had traveled to actually be there
yeah.
was wild. Was wild.
Huge. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Massive congrats to the two girls that won their pro cards as well before we get into the pro show.
Mhm.
Scarlett as well, she won the overall, was it at the last regional? Am I correct
It
in saying?
was it was where was it? Was it Wigan?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the MK Classic. So I was
Yeah.
actually there. So she won the overall at the was I there? I was there. Surely, I'm sure it was
Yeah.
the MK Classic that she won. Yes, I was in the audience. God, that was a roundabout way of saying I was there. So she won the MK Classic overall. I think she went to Milan. I want to say narrowly missed out on it there, but this show she was a standout
Yeah.
without fail.
Yeah.
The minute the lineup, the overall lineup came out, she just nailed it. And for somebody who is self-coached, she preps herself. She's done all of this on her own back.
No
I think
way.
it just makes it even more impressive to
Yeah.
have that objective view to get your body to a position where you are completely nailing the look
Mhm.
for at the end of the day it was Tyler Mannion stood in like sat in front of her judging this show as well. Big shout out to Tyler for coming to the UK.
Oh my God,
But
win your pro card, like obviously all the judges have a good
mm,
eye, but
yeah,
Tyler Mannion is the person that you want
the
to be
goat.
really
The
like.
goat.
He is the
Yeah,
absolute goat. So huge
yeah.
achievement, yeah, to get that. And
Mhm.
she's been around a while. Like I've followed her journey and known of her like for quite some time and seeing that progress as well. I knew she had been self-coached, but like I thought she'd been getting like, some help here and there from people, but like
Yeah, I
God,
believe
what
so.
how many people can say that they won a pro card, doing that themselves?
Doing
Like
it
especially
themselves,
as
yeah.
female, like it's really difficult. And if you're not like a bodybuilding coach yourself, like so
Mm.
that's incredible. Massive well
Mhm.
done to
Yeah.
her. Obviously
Yeah,
UK.
she did thank people, I think, at the MK, just for like support and contributions and things. So I do think she's got a tight circle around her, but no, nonetheless, she actually thanked herself
Yeah.
when she won a pro card. She was like, "Do you want to thank
God, you
anybody?" I was like,
would
"Well,
like,
me,
yeah,
because I
absolutely.
did this," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes, girl,
Yeah,
yes." But
like you said, it's having that objective view, and I think
mhm.
bikini athletes especially like really struggle to do that. I know I just
Oh
couldn't do it. Like I'd get so
no,
in my own head.
no,
Um, so yeah, like
categorically not.
it's just
Yeah.
impressive, really, really
Mm.
impressive. And then the
Yeah.
other girl as well, Jade. What did you say her name was? I don't want to
Cassia,
forget.
Cassia, I think she's from Poland. But yeah, they were split in center. So they had Scarlett was out to the right, and they actually split. Well, there was three of them centralized in the overall. Cassia, Scarlett, and then another girl in a red suit who I unfortunately don't know the name of, but she was very genetically gifted. Like her pro card's an imminent thing. She needs to keep going. But it was a very very, very close call between all three. All of them had really nice fullness from the back, the glutes and things like that. The density, the condition, really strong from the back. Turn them around, and they were equally as strong from the front. So it could have been any one of the three, really. I think it was the right call with Cassia and Scarlett. Personally, I think from behind, from the back, the fullness was really there. And the girl in the red suit was incredibly strong from the front, incredibly strong. Kind of almost like Issa vibes, but not quite as extreme. But that really nice S shape. But yeah, it was
really exciting as
great.
well, looking at these kind of things, because you know that like the possibilities in Europe, you know, with these amateur Olympias and stuff, they're given top three, like anything can happen. You know, people in these shows that were in that overall lineup, they go to another one. I'm seeing it now, you know, you can see them on Instagram, they're going from this show, and Sweden is this weekend, and you know, there's lots of opportunities. So like any amateurs that were competing that are listening to this and that show, like give yourself another chance, like, and we've seen the stories over the years, you know, people come second and third even in these kind of shows, and then they go to another one and they get their pro card and they place first. So it's exciting to see all these athletes coming up as well, and following the journey. So yeah, exciting times.
Exciting. It was nice for Scarlett to take it for the UK as well, I must say.
Yeah.
On a home soil, it's nice.
I know
think
she was in Australia actually for a while over there,
Mhm.
but they only have like 1 or 2 pro qualifiers a year. So it's hard to get it over there, and the standards are incredibly high. So awesome. Well done,
Insane.
girls. So yeah, we'll go into the pro show. These photos are from Bailey Image Show. Yeah, I think Bailey was. Yeah.
Yeah, it is
So
Bailey,
shout out to him. Beautiful, beautiful shots.
He always captures it so well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I've never been privileged enough to be on the end of his camera at a show, but one day.
Yes, one day. So the scorecard here. We have actually Francesca Walsh. Before we go into it, she is just a new pro. I think she trains in EP.
Oh, nice.
You know, I think she won her pro card, I think, like last year. She's coached by
I want to say Kerry.
Mayo.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I can't. I'm gonna butcher it anyway. But I'll put her up in the photos later on. Really, really good physique, immense glutes as well, and very much shapes as well going on. So, yeah, she was there from the UK. We've Marnie in there as well, placing 9th. And any other outside of the top 10, Jade? Laura's
Scarlett,
I
of
didn't
course.
actually see any photos of her. I think
Laura,
that's quite hard looking at that placing coming from like
with Laura, I think being completely objective about it, it's her back shot. It's her back shot. I think there's more development to be had with her back shot with her glutes. She has in particular quite short insertions from the back, which always makes it more difficult. Like that's a genetic predisposition. You can't change it. That's the way your glutes sit, where your muscles insert. So it's always going to be challenging. I think compared to the top three, when you put them side by side in terms of glute density, glute fullness, and things like that, she just couldn't compete. Sadly, from the front, she's always been lovely. Like it's such a flow to her physique, and it's so well rounded from the front. The minute she turns behind, there's a gap in terms of those top three in the density and the fullness and the shape. So I don't know whether it's just further development, because we know pros who are in the top 10 Olympia that don't necessarily have long insertions. It's not a hindrance at all. But I do think going forward, just more density, more development.
Yeah, it's
because
hard
it's just
mentally,
not
I guess,
translating.
going from getting first place, wasn't it, a few years ago to
Yeah.
coming 16th. It's hard, I can imagine, as an athlete.
Yeah.
So hopefully, is she coached by Team Atlas still?
Don't think
No.
so. I
Okay.
don't think so. I haven't seen any tags, and I usually go off the Instagram tags because I know Otavia's no longer with Paul as well. It's another one that was in there. She's got a different coach as well. But
Juice. You've got the
I
juice.
know. I
Noted.
didn't know. I didn't
Oh,
know. So I was looking. Obviously
okay.
after the fact as well, in terms of tagging people when I was sort of documenting on the podcast page about the results and things, I was like, oh, that's
Okay.
changed. But anyway,
Yeah, and her
obviously
placing has changed as well. But I don't know, coincidence. We don't know. I think the athletes this year were really, really good.
yeah,
we go through them, and Adriana as well coming back after a couple of years as well, like with the buying.
Hmm.
So you got to look out for these things, and Kerry Sexton as well, which we'll run through. But yeah, so first we obviously had Adriana.
Hmm.
Second, we had Jess Feeney, who is
Yeah.
from Ireland. Shout
Mhm.
out. Woo woo. I think that
Yeah.
I actually think it could be our highest ever placing. Like with I think we only have sorry, three pros, I think.
Three. Yeah.
So that's amazing. Woo.
Hmm.
And then third we
Olympia.
have Kerry Sexton
Sorry. Hmm.
as well.
This
And
this
fourth.
gave me. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, the Kerry's placing, I was literally squealing in my
Yeah.
seat. Like I just after the run that she'd had in the USA,
Mm,
this was her with a game face
yeah.
on. This was her fighting, and she came back and she did it. So huge shout out to Kerry
I
for
can't wait to run
making that
through
kind of
everything.
mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Fourth we have Sophia,
Yeah.
and fifth we have Octavia there as
Yeah.
well,
Mhm.
which was a bit of a shock to me. But anyway,
Mhm.
Adriana,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful girl, absolutely
Mhm.
stunning. Her front shot is impressive.
It gives me a Iskander.
Yeah, it's just
Mhm.
very polished. I know you love that word, Jade.
Oh, yeah, it's
It
my
is
favorite.
just, yeah, and her posing, like everything is just super symmetrical as well.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
nothing looks off in that front pose. Um,
Mhm.
just really, really nice flow and balance, upper to lower as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
upper glute, like quads as well. Like it's not too much, I don't think. I think
No.
her midsection as well is absolutely bang on her condition there.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not blown out, her abs are not super, super etched in, nothing like that. So I'm a
Mhm.
big fan of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like it's been a
It
while since I've seen her on the scene too.
Yeah, well, she did an Olympia a couple of years ago. I can't remember the year exactly. So she did qualify for the Olympia, but
Yeah,
this is the first time I've seen her qualify again. So I think this might be the first time she's going back since her last appearance.
yeah,
But it was lovely to watch her win. It really was. Like she was a standout from the minute they all walked out. Really, I had her winning straight away,
hmm
because she had nailed it. Like in terms of conditioning, she's not overly conditioned at all. She's bang on the money in terms of sort of even the lower glute.
hmm
Um and the conditioning there, the fullness. Arguably, she could come in even slightly fuller for the Olympia. Just looking at the pictures of the back shot now, she looked much fuller actually on the live stream. So it might just be the pictures, really. But I just think presentation wise, I really like her hair as well. She's changed her hair.
yeah.
So the whole package was just really, really well put together. Her posing's gorgeous as well.
Her
So
posing is
in
very
terms of
different. I
presence,
think she brought a good bit of
yeah,
personality to it, which is nice. Like it wasn't
yeah.
just like very structured and like
Mhm.
robotic. Like she had a really
Mhm.
nice flow to it in the way she used her hands as well.
Yeah.
It was just a nice touch. I thought it was beautiful. And I
Hmm.
agree. I think her back shot is perfect. As well.
Hmm.
That conditioning in the lower glute and her hamstrings. There's nothing, feathering at all.
No,
Really, really
no.
nice.
No, she was the deserved winner, like stand out straight away. Like even from sort of the comparisons and things like that before when they walked the girls out, you just knew she'd had it. She got it. Her presence on stage as well was like she really was glowing.
Yeah.
So
I think if anything, like if I was to nitpick, like just in
mm,
her upper body here, I think there could be a little bit more of a taper going on.
yeah.
Because her waist looks super small here, but from the
Mm,
back, I think the way her upper body is posing, it doesn't look as small. And I think she could maybe change her hand position or do something with the upper back here just to make it
mhm.
a little bit more tapered. I don't know if you agree.
No, yeah, I agree because like I think that's where, from a fullness standpoint, it looks like on that picture, especially, it just doesn't look like it's popping
Yeah.
as much as it did on the live stream. Maybe it's just the moment that's been captured, whether she's not quite in it. But I think maybe, I mean, if she pushes back too much into her glutes, then she's going to lose that upper glute. But I
Yeah.
do think a little bit of a tweak, yes, because it's
Yeah.
quite a straight line. And the likes of who she's going to come up against at the
That's
Olympia,
it.
you've got,
Yeah.
I know Jen Dory's out now, but you've got Issa, who has the most extreme sort of E-taper
Yeah.
and sort of X frame, if you like. I know we don't tend to use that in IFBB, but she has got that crazy taper. So she's going to have to manipulate it to make sure
Yeah.
that she's
Yeah, but she was
coming.
definitely, yeah, first place
Oh, yeah.
initially. So yeah, we've got this is the final call out, I presume, that I got off NPC News
Yes.
Online.
Yeah,
Um,
confirmation. Yeah.
so we've got Kerry,
Hmm.
Adriana, Jess, and Sophia here
Yeah. Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so Sophia came forth. I think she's beautiful here. I think she could get away with maybe a little bit more condition.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but really actually super long legs and a nice waist as well.
Hmm.
An upper line too. I think, yeah, just maybe a tiny bit more conditioning. But I know
Hmm.
like next to Jess there, she does look a lot smaller muscle wise. So she just gotta
Yeah.
have to like play with her strengths, in this show as
Yeah.
well.
I think it'd be interesting to see as well if she softened that knee. It looks like she's hyperextended
Yeah,
in the knee at the front, and I know Jendori struggles with that actually. So she bends ever so slightly. And
yeah.
for anybody who has hyperextension in their knees, when you bend your knee to straighten it rather than hyperextend, it feels like you're bending, like you're bending down. But it'd
Mhm.
be interesting to see if that tweak would soften or like pull a little bit more of a pop back through sort of the hamstring and the glute and really pull
Yeah,
that out, because she loses the hamstrings there, the glutes there by all means, but if she softens that knee, she might get more.
yeah,
So therefore, she might be able to compete with the likes of like the top 10 at the Olympia as and when she gets there. But
yeah,
it just in general pro shows, just having that density there where she might be a younger athlete, for example, because I don't know how old Adriana is, but her body looks like it's been training for a substantial
yeah.
amount of time longer than Sophia's. So yeah,
Mhm.
maybe a posing tweak from the front
Yeah.
would work.
I think,
Mm.
if you're comparing first place to fourth here,
Yeah.
um, sorry, my laptop is low on battery. First place,
Woo.
yeah, there's a little bit more conditioning
Yeah.
here. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but
Gorgeous taper and
yeah,
gorgeous top line as well. I think like
really,
genetically, Sophia, yeah. I think she's got a huge amount of potential just
yeah.
structurally. Yeah.
Then we have Kerry obviously in third and Jess in second.
Mm-hmm.
Now, controversial, I'm going to say
Hmm.
it because this is a review. I do think, in my opinion, shout out to Jess, amazing, but I personally had Kerry second.
Yeah.
I thought this was Kerry's best look I've ever seen.
I've
Um,
never seen
I
her
think
look
it was
like
just,
this.
but everything
Mm.
was bang on, like condition, fullness. I think her back shot in particular as well. Like
Hmm.
her glutes have come on so much.
Yeah.
And I'm such a fan of this look. I've always been a fan of Kerry, but this look in particular, I think she nailed it really, really well. Um,
Yeah.
and for me, looking at this, I just find her physique a little bit more flowy.
A little bit more
Nose as
pleasing. Yeah.
well, her upper body, and even in the back shot here. Maybe potentially a little bit more conditioning should get away with in that like glute in here. Um,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
I personally had her second, and that's just
I
third
it's hands down the best Kerry has ever looked. Looking at that though, I think she's slightly imbalanced in that pose.
with her
I
upper
think
body.
yes, I think
Yeah.
it looks a little bit heavier, ever so slightly heavier than a lower. And I'm being picky here, but like I think with the likes of Tyler being the head judge, I think he's going to be looking for finite details and finite things. I think she brought the better package out of the two, but in terms of presentation, that might have slightly hurt her
Yeah,
ever
she
so
could always
slightly.
like her
It's
feet
easy,
a
easy
little bit wider
changeable.
or just relaxing the upper body. But I
Yeah,
suppose if we're comparing
maybe
the two,
even
I
straightening her
find,
arms.
yeah,
Straightening her
I,
arms a little bit just to take that sort of emphasis ever so slightly out of that top
yeah,
line, just to balance it a little bit more. Because I think in terms of muscularity, she's very balanced. I just think the posing has made her look more so on that shot, which I hadn't actually appreciated watching it live.
mhm,
But looking at the shot, she looks a little bit heavier up top
yeah,
versus glute, and I don't think that's a true reflection of her actual physique at
yeah,
all.
yeah. Well, see,
Yeah,
I think looking at this, Jess's lower body, she's pushing a
yeah,
lot into that, kind
hmm,
of like well, I want to say, and
yeah,
that looks imbalanced to me.
yeah.
I suppose
Yeah.
it's yeah, what the judges thought looking at it.
No, yeah, I agree in terms of the. I think it could have potentially. It'd be interesting to see the actual individual points. Do you know, in terms of like the scoring with each judge to see how close Kerry's and Jess's
Yeah,
placings really were.
yeah.
It'd
I
be
think it was
interesting.
very close.
Yeah,
And it probably did come down to like preference.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
sure
so.
Kerry got the feedback and
Mm.
she'll be sharing it soon. But I wonder if
Mm.
Tyler as well will do one of those videos.
I'd like to think he did because it's the last qualifier as well. It's the last qualifier
Yeah.
for the Olympia, like we said at the start. So I think it'd be interesting for him to do it because at the end of the day, it's the last ticket in. So it'd be nice for him to feed back not only on sort of that last qualifier, but also I'm pretty sure it's the first UK show he's ever done. We've certainly never had him over here, so it'd be nice for him to do it. Really,
Yeah.
hopefully he'll get it in before the lead up to the Olympia. No doubt
Yeah,
he'll
that'd
be
be
busy,
good.
but.
That'd be good.
Mhm.
I think Kerry's sorry glute here as well. I just think there's lovely
Yeah.
roundness here in comparison. Now, obviously, we're looking at photos. We don't know what the judges are seeing, but I just think as
Mhm.
well the glute fullness here
Yeah.
and a really nice taper as well. And she
I
dresses
just
kind of
think she
leaning
nails.
over a little bit in her
Mm,
pose and then
yeah.
in the back pose as well. So I think
Mhm.
just to look at as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm slightly biased too, so I'll be very open about it. But it's the best Kerry has ever looked. Like when
Yeah.
I said she came back fighting, it really was a fight. She came back to prove a point.
Mm.
And especially with traveling in the US and things like that, coming up against the US scene as well, it was just nice for her to hold her own and
Yeah.
see her up there where we know she's got the capability of being. She knows she's got the capability of being in that top run. So it
Yeah.
was nice for her to finally be awarded for it as well. So
Definitely. And it must have been nice on home soil. But can I just
yeah,
say as well the fact that like she beat Octavia as well, like who was
that's what I
obviously
mean.
somebody that people were looking at coming into
Mhm.
this,
Yeah.
considering what she's won and just how she's been like the last few years.
Mhm.
Because when we reviewed the last UK show, like we were like, yeah, Octavia by a mile. So
Yeah.
for her to
Mhm.
place ahead of her, like it's a little boost of confidence.
Yeah,
Really
massively.
think
Massively.
of her
Let
capabilities, and I know she's just going to get to Olympia, and I'm so confident she will get there one day. She works so hard. She's
Mhm.
a massive inspiration, like so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wishing her all the best.
Yeah, me too. I just think it's possible, like it's what might have once felt impossible to her. This is just confirmation that
Yeah,
she's doing what she needs to be doing. And it was incredible to see. It's nice to see people who have that kind of efficacy for work and do not give up no matter how unachievable it might seem or whatever feedback they might be getting. Like I remember her checking in with a boot on because she'd broken a foot and things like that. Like
yeah,
there's
yeah,
nothing this girl won't let get in her way.
yeah,
So for that purpose, as well as her being a UK athlete, like a friend of ours, like somebody that we speak to and have had the pleasure of having on the podcast before as well. Like she's someone I'm gunning for all of the
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I know she actually did say that she was dealing with her PMDD around
Yeah.
this show, if I'm correct. Maybe it was the
Yeah.
American one, like so that's hard as well. And I know everybody deals with their own kind of prep struggles, but
Mhm.
she's been around a long time, she's done a
Yeah.
lot of preps. She's done
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
shows. So
Yeah.
like, somebody like that works that hard. Like they do deserve it in the end. So fingers crossed
Resilient.
for her. Yeah.
100%.
Um, so this was I think the first
First
court.
call outs. Yeah.
There's Octavia
Yeah.
there. Like
Mhm.
still a beautiful
Yeah.
physique. So I don't know what you think maybe potentially let her down, Jade.
I think I think with Octavia, if you go on to the next slide actually and look at the back shots, I think that's where she's fallen short. So, I mean, even Francesca's in the middle there, I think, in the green suit,
Yeah.
and yeah, at the top. Is that
Yeah.
Francesca? Yeah.
Um,
So if you're looking at the glutes, I mean, some of the girls in this, I think this is second call outs. Yeah,
yeah,
because
I
Marnie
can't.
is
Sorry, I
in
don't
there.
have the photo of Octavia from the back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think Octavia, like the thing with Octavia, I think it happened to her at the Arnold's UK as well. She's one of those athletes that can come in quite lean and she looks quite dense and quite hard as a result of it. And comparing sort of back shots with the top three, she just wasn't as full. Wasn't as bubbly. She came in well for herself, but I think the other girls, in terms of fullness, had really nailed it, and they were quite. It was just too much competition,
Yeah.
simply put. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Octavia is a petite athlete, but if you look at the conditioning difference next to Kerry, for example, there, and then you've got Jess. the conditioning is quite different.
Yeah.
She is much harder.
Yeah.
I
Quads
remember Paul
popping out of her skin there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think she's just a little bit too lean. And I know from speaking to Paul when she competed at the UK Arnold's, like she got similar feedback about coming back in leaner, but I personally thought she was harder in prejudging versus finals. And I'd spoken to Paul at the time when he was coaching her about how different her looks were, sort of morning versus evening. I think she's one of those athletes that needs a particularly large amount of food to fill her out. But a slightly softer look for Octavia tends to do her better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think she was too conditioned compared to the other girls.
Yeah. It's a learning thing, really. And it's
Yeah.
just fortunate that obviously it was wait, is she qualified already? The Olympia? I'm so sure. Is that show not this year that she
Yeah,
did?
it was
Very
March.
start?
Yeah. So she is already qualified.
Yeah. God, that
So
actually
she
feels just like a long
qualified.
time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh
she
yeah.
still will be obviously at the Olympia, but
Yeah.
I suppose
Yeah, it
this is
was the
it's a
pro
bit of a
show.
kick in the teeth, going into this show. I'm sure she had higher hopes than fifth place, but that's bodybuilding for you, really.
Yeah. And I think it's a wise move in terms of like potentially a wise move in terms of just managing into the Olympia as well. She's got a show out it was 5 weeks out from the Olympia when she actually competed, 4 or 5. So they've got the feedback now directly from Tyler. So I think in terms of actually getting in front of Tyler and getting the feedback ahead of that show, so long as they can manipulate the look in that time and they don't run into any issues, it might have been the best move for her. We never know. It's always a bit of a risk running into a show ahead of the Olympia. Not many of the top 10 athletes tend to do it other than Ashley. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what her feedback was and whether they can apply it in that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then this is the second call out. Yeah, with Marnie, you've got Francesca in there. Like big difference there, obviously in height and muscularity. And I know every time we have Marnie up, we always discuss this, but it's crazy, when you actually see the difference. I would look at 3 different classes.
Yeah.
Height thing, but
Yeah,
Marnie looks beautiful. I can imagine she wasn't overly happy maybe with this placing. I know she's
I think she was, to be honest. I think from the feedback I've heard from Jake, at least, I think they were just glad to get her inside the top 10 again. Like that seems to be a consistent thing for her. Is she's seeping into those top 10s and obviously getting in front of Tyler. She's been in front of Tyler before at was it Pittsburgh? So it's always an opportunity, as we know, for Marnie to just get the feedback as well. She's so grateful to be put in a position where she's getting the feedback directly from the people she wants to end up in front of at the Olympia. So they were quite pleased. I know she was happy with her look as well. They were quite confident in that it was the best look that she'd brought all season. Much sharper through the back this time round. Tie-ins in particular were in, like they'd nailed it this time round. I just think it's just a time thing for Marnie. It's a matter of getting that muscle on there, stuck on a frame. It's not going anywhere. They can manipulate the look even more. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. And that's what I love about her is she's willing to be patient, and sadly it's just not the case in the industry for the most part these days.
No.
So it's nice to see, that people are genuinely interested, love bodybuilding and are willing to take the time and put in the work as well. So look, I've loved watching her journey. I wrote on her Instagram like since 2016 or whenever she started, I've been following her. And
I remember the blonde hair and the blue bikini.
It's so nice to see the journey to the pro stage and how much she just loves bodybuilding, and in particular what I loved is her saying how much she's learned about herself this year, and I'm sure you can relate, Jade, as well, like what she's overcome like amidst a prep as well. And just the mindset lessons that can happen through the sport. It's incredible.
They're life-changing lessons as well. Like I know that Marnie would wholeheartedly agree with me. And she's been one of the most like supportive people in terms of what I've pulled myself back from as well. And I just think those lessons stick with you, whether it's bodybuilding or not. People may think, oh, it's just bodybuilding. You just go to the gym and you diet and you get on stage, but it simply isn't. Like if you take away from it what you can, which Marnie does, then it's life-changing. So yeah, she just grows as an athlete each year,
Yeah.
which is amazing to see. It is
Yeah.
amazing to see.
Incredible. I don't
Mm.
recognize any other people in this lineup.
Laura Ziv's on the left, far
Or
left in the red. Laura Ziv.
yeah.
I mean, you'll see what I mean in terms of glutes
I think
when you.
when you look at that whole lineup there, it does look like a conditioning thing as well. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think last place is a little bit harsh, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
It was a good standard. I mean, some of the girls, the girl in from her,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, when I see her
the
front
new
shot.
pro, yeah. So there's Cassia, I think, on the left hand side. I
Yeah.
think. Incredibly conditioned from the back, actually, compared to the other girls. And then Scarlett in from the right,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
she carried herself really well. Neither one of them looked out of place in that pro lineup as well, which is
No,
really
no.
quite impressive to do straight out of the gate,
Yeah.
because you've got Olympia qualified athletes in that lineup, so it's always going to be a bit daunting.
100%. Gosh, yeah, she looks great. Um,
Mm.
amazing, amazing. I think that was
Yeah,
Francesca's pro debut as well, if I
it was. Yeah,
correct. So, do you recognize
those
her,
boys.
Jade? Do
Sorry.
you recognize her now? Did
Yes, yeah, no, I knew
you-
exactly who you meant.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly who you meant. I think I'd confused her for another athlete in terms of who was coaching her, but yeah, she is very, very strong from the
yeah.
back. I think arguably a little softer through that tie-in,
Hmm.
maybe,
Yeah.
and
And just maybe a
just
little bit more
solid.
upper body to balance it out a little
Yeah,
bit. But to be
yeah.
honest, I don't think her glutes need to get any bigger.
No, I'd agree. I'd
So
agree. I think it's more a case of balance and refinement for her
balancing,
at the moment now, and
yeah,
really working on what package she brings in terms of condition, fullness,
yeah,
and manipulating that as best she can, because I think structurally it's all there pretty
yeah,
much. A little bit more development through the upper body, a little bit more depth across that front shot at the top, like sort of through her chest and lats and things like that,
yeah,
just to balance. But
yeah. I
yeah, I
agree.
think tissue wise on her glute, she doesn't need a scratch more.
No, no. Amazing, amazing. Any other
Mm.
shout outs that amateur
Not
pro? No. Okay.
so just a few of the amateurs that did particularly well. Gosh, all of the names have completely flown out of my head the minute I say it. Larry Beth, who won the overall,
Yeah.
one of Josh McHale's clients, she did really well in the overall as well. She got into the overall, won a class, and had won the overall at a regional as well.
Mhm.
She did really well. The progress in her physique since she's been with Josh has been really, really amazing, like glute development and just her overall balance in general. So she's done really well.
I'm not going to be able to look these people up, but yeah. Anyway, big shout
Yeah.
out to them. Yeah, I think she's been competing for quite some time, hasn't she? So uh,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
It's
probably going
another
to
one
be
that
the
just
same
sort
thing
of
with
works.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, another one that just sort of works in the background and she comes back and she's there, which is great. I'm trying to think of others.
Josh McHale has some great athletes. Obviously, we know
Mhm,
Jake has some great athletes, so it's
mhm.
about keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, yeah.
Jade will as well. She knows that I'm such a big fan of her physique. Um,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think she's great. So yeah, it's the future, and people just need to keep at it, if they want to achieve it. I think we
Mhm.
know, looking at the physiques, like what people's potentials are.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
you
like if
can
you
see
have
it.
that potential, like keep going for it.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. I just think, another one, Lauren Quirk as well, who I think she got second in her
yeah,
class, but she did her development as well, like
yeah,
season to season. I think she took about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't think it was quite 2 years, but I think she took a year and a half off. And you can tell that girl's been working. So it's those athletes that come back and they're just better
hmm
every single time, no matter how much time they take away. That they're working, and you can just see it is demonstrated the minute they step on stage. So, as
yeah,
far as talent goes in the UK at the minute, we are flying the flag like
yeah,
high. So I
yeah.
think it's just shout out to everybody who stepped on stage. Like, you didn't make it easy for any of the girls that won,
Mm.
any of them. So yeah, keep
And just
working.
remember, patience, patience, patience.
It's a
That is
virtue.
that's what bikini is about. You just cannot
You
rush
can't
the
rush it.
process. You cannot rush the physique.
No,
It's just not, yeah, it's not going to work like if
no.
you do that. So take the
The
time.
temptation's
Your body will
there.
thank you. Like, you don't want your body to be stressed, inflamed, and
No.
that kind of thing. So.
it's very easy to ruin the look very quickly. I think the
Yeah.
temptation's there, the faculties are there, the resources are there if you want to push it, if you want to rush it. But unfortunately, it shows. I just think this is a patience game. It always has been.
Yeah.
If you go back to the 80s when they were logging their steps in like handwritten notebooks and they didn't have MyFitnessPal and things like that, like these guys were working in the gym and sweating for years and years and years before they even got a look in. And I think societal sort of pressures and having social media now makes that harder. But if you can exercise patience in this game and actually do the work and do the work over time instead of using everything and anything you can to try and rush it, you're gonna benefit from it long term.
Yeah.
You always will. You always will.
Absolutely. Great
Yeah.
point. Amazing. Well, guys, if you did enjoy this review, please make sure to like and share us on your socials. We also love to hear your feedback. So if you've got any comments, drop them below. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Were you watching the show? Let us know your thoughts for the Olympia coming up as well. We'll be doing all our predictions for that, etc., etc. So yeah, all the feedback we love to hear.
Yeah, we need it. We need it. It keeps us going. But thanks for listening again, guys.